Hey guys, it's Diego Diablo from mindlesspaint.com, and today I want to go over a Fortnite T-shirt tutorial. So I'm airbrushing just using Fortnite's templates, and I make these templates on my site and use them to help airbrush artists make more money in the industry. Always really great to help out. But so what I'm doing is I applied, and I didn't show it here, but spray adhesive on the stencil. So I put spray adhesive on the back of it, and a good tip is to usually shake it or blow it a little bit for it to give it like 5 seconds before you place it on there, so you don't get any of that sticky stuff on it on the other side. And turn this down, and then I'm slowly going over very carefully the outline of it using dagger strokes across the outside of this templates, and making sure I'm airbrushing away from the stencil so it's not going underneath and making it muddy. So I'm following there and just really trying to be precise with it. And you really don't have to be. When I'm at the festivals, I usually just spray it and then cover it up with a more dark color, like a more opaque or a darker transparent color. Refilling the bottle, blah blah blah. And I'm using a Iwata HPCH airbrush right here, I think, or this might be the Eclipse. I'm not too sure. They're both silver. I know I have a Eclipse that's a different color. For sure that's an Eclipse. Both are great guns. And here is a fluorescent purple. And it's really nice, vibrant color, and I'm being very careful too. And if you see, my hand is kind of holding out part of the stencil, because sometimes the contact of the stencil doesn't meet very well or perfectly, and if that happens and you use a lot of pressure, because I use wicked paints, and you have to use a lot of PSIs, like 50 PSIs at least, to spray them out the bottle fluidly, depending what color you have. Some colors are more pigmented than others, and this is a like vibrant like light blue, I think, like a Maui blue, or it might be the ultramarine blue. I think that's probably what it is. And then this is like a baby blue, a Laguna blue, or something like that. I think that's what it is. So I'm using these dagger strokes to extend the line of the horizon. So that just gives me an idea of how far this t-shirt's going to go and where I'm going to stop painting with this certain color. I use it as a guide to kind of tell me, like, okay, this is how far I want to go on the shirt, and keep it within these, limits. Circle stencil. Sometimes I would do the moon, sky, whatever, sun. Just use the bottle. Sometimes I just can't find the right stencils. If you have a ton of them, helps out. It works. Dagger strokes right here to make the arch above. This kind of frames the shirt. And then just some freehand swirls and things like that, just to make it a little more interesting. I like to add a lot of freehand stuff, swirls, all that stuff, just to, like I said, make it more interesting, keep it, fun. And I'm coming in with a wicked blue, just wicked blue, and the wicked blue is usually a deeper blue. It's really strong, so if you lay down like 2 layers of the paint on top of each other, you get like a really royal deep blue. And there is a wicked deep blue too, that's even darker. I actually think this blue is too dark. I don't think it is like a regular medium blue. If you use the regular Createx blue, that is a very good middle ground blue. And I'm adding some raspberry. I have to remember all these colors offhand, but that looks to like, I think that's a raspberry Createx color. So I don't just always use wicked colors, and I don't always use just regular Createx colors. I mix them up. Some of the fluorescent colors, most of them I actually like from regular Createx brand, and the deeper, darker colors for detail and everything, I like the wicked ones. So, phone call. Adding some fluorescent raspberry and playing with the stencil, making sure it's straight. And after a while, the adhesive kind of starts to wear off too, so just be aware of that. It depends too if it's like super hot. I always have it like super humid in my place. Wherever I'm working, it's actually summertime now, so it's really hot, so sometimes they lose contact. And the sharper and the firmer the contact, the better, the cleaner the stencils come out. So that's probably the biggest struggle I have with using templates, is making sure the contact's really nice and flat. Not so much on shirts, but hats and stuff is kind of tricky because it's curved. Outlining it more in black. Now I'm peeling off the stencil. Usually I get it from like a corner and I peel it off, and making sure like the paint's not still wet on there because I can smudge it, and that sucks. Here I was just trying to go fast, so I just freehand it, didn't spray adhesive it or whatever, just holding it. It's a nice sharp lines, and to hold it at an angle so it's like the contact to the surface is tighter. Filling it in with black, I used Wicked Jet Black. I like Jet Black a lot. The artist from Australia, Ergon, he recommended it to me, and I really like it. I just leave it black like that because I'm going to go over in white again in a minute, and you'll see that. And these are some cheaper, these are, what are they called? Pachets? I think they're Talons or Pache something. There's one of the Pachets, I think they're like $40 or something. I got them on sale, and I have another video too that I was reviewing them. Super nice. They were cheap airbrushes. I mean, not for a lot of detail, but just for like solid color like that. Like I wouldn't paint a portrait with them at all. That would be insane. I guess you could, but it would be really, really hard and it would suck. But if you're just filling color like that and you don't have a lot of money for Iwatas, because if I could have all Iwatas, I would. I love them. They are my favorite airbrush all time. You know, really great. And but you know, just kind of get one here and there as you go, and do what you can. Adding blue. There's a deeper blue, dark blue there. And alright. Blow dryer. It's my old blow dryer, but it works. Some people even use a heat gun, but I've played with a heat gun. It gets super hot. Like if you're not paying attention, you can just like burn through your hand, and that scares me. But so that's why I don't mess with it. But I mean, there's probably guys that are using it, and dude, that's awesome. You know, I just I'm like super nervous when it comes to like my hands and stuff. It's everything, man. And here's the Nightmare stencil. This one's cool. That's actually one of my favorite ones, and I had another video I shot last night with all ultraviolet paint. It was this guy too. Actually, his name's not Nightmare. I don't know why I called him Nightmare, but I forgot what his name is. Like Raven Nevermore. That's what it is. I think that's what it is, pretty sure. So filling it with black right here. And actually, this is the negative stencil, so all this should be white and everything else should be black. But I'll go over it again and you'll see once I pull it off. So this really works well on a black shirt, like perfectly awesome black shirt, black hat, or anything dark. So maybe layer a color underneath it dark, and then paint everything around it in this would be actually white where the eyes are in the inside. So, and that's something I just did, and I'm always thinking about a lot of stuff when I'm painting, and sometimes I just forget, you know. But that's okay, because the great thing about painting is you can always repaint something, or, you know, if you know how to use and manipulate paints, you don't really have a lot of mistakes. And if you do make a mistake, you can always just pretty much paint over it, unless it's like redone a million times, or like the surface is not flat and smooth anymore. That's the only really big problems. Or if you put a lot of black in there, it's hard to cover. So yeah, I'm telling you guys a lot here. So hopefully, you know, all these tips, tricks, all that stuff, this knowledge helps you out painting better shirts, all that. And yeah, do some swirls. And I really don't get in depth of every single thing. I know there's some artists that will like kind of call me out for it. I can, but then I feel like if I get so in depth of every single thing I do, it'll be super boring. Because I'm a kind of a nerd, and I'll get so technical, you'll be like, what the hell? You know? Some swirls. These are like quick, fast dagger strokes. I usually don't even do it. I work a lot one-handed because I'm holding the cell phone, but I don't recommend it. I do my best work when I have one of my hands steadying the airbrush and the other one painting. That's when I really get focused in. But if it's like swirl or something like that, I'll do that. And you can tell my style isn't the neatest. I'm not the perfect, neat artist. I'm more, I guess you'd say like kind of like a concept sketch kind of artist when I paint. I'm getting better at being neater, and that's probably one of the things I really got to work on. But I can paint and draw things from memory, from images super fast, and I think that's my kind of attribute or whatever, my contribution. And everyone has like a lettering stencil, a lettering style, or a different thing they contribute to airbrushing. I think mine would be like that how to kind of draw something freehand quickly. So I'm spray painting the stencil right here with white, and this is a wicked opaque white. I like the opaque white because it's nice, brighter and vibrant off the bottle. It's not semi-transparent or transparent, and those always take longer layers to build up. And I always do this kind of like, you know, fade from the eyes. I saw a few guys do it. I really liked that look, and I kind of adopted it as my own. And when I see other artists, I usually I do a kind of critique on their work. One thing I like and one thing I don't like, and that's just from art school and just being an artist. We always do critiques, and we'd always have to critique one thing you like and one thing you don't like. And sometimes it's hard to find stuff you don't like, because some guys are so good. But you have to. Even me, I see something I do and I'm like, oh crap, you know. But that makes you better. And that's how you get good. It's not by always thinking everything's great, or not thinking you're always the greatest or you're the worst. It's kind of like middle ground. So take the things, I guess the point of that is to take the things you like. Take something you like about what I do and integrate it in what you do. And, you know, leave the things you don't like. Like, I think I was talking to one of my friends, Air Todd. He follows me in a lot of my videos. He's a really great guy. And he critiqued me good, like very well, in saying, like, you know, I use a lot of white and too much for the highlights and stuff like that. And he's absolutely right. And it's just a habit I have. I don't know. It's hard to break. But, you know, things like that, I feel are important. With that being said, yes, don't be too hard on yourself too, and learn how to fix things. Like when I put too many white highlights, I just overlay it with a transparent color and then just tone them down. And I'm doing that back and forth. You see a lot of the work I do, it's like back, forth, toning down, up, you know, not toning, building up, not building up. Putting the V for victory, and I don't know too much about Fortnite as much as I should. I know. So a lot of the symbols and things I'm a little kind of weary on. But they're really cool to have to add, like, really just different elements to your, you know, painting, your t-shirt, whatever. I think it's really important to have these little elements to, you know, just to give it something different, you know. So I got a awesome stencil pack I made. I think it's like 12 stencils for like $100, and I'm doing packages too, because I don't really have too much time, honestly, to ship single stencils as much anymore. I don't think, because I got so much like going on. So I think that's kind of the route I'm gonna go. And yeah, man, get stencils. They help you out. I'm telling you, you're gonna make so much more money. They saved my life, airbrushing, man. Like changed my life, I guess you'd say. Well, not saved it, but changed it, you know. So we can just get all these difficult things done, make money, and then focus on the art. And a lot of people argue against stencils, and some are for it. Some I'm so totally for it. I'm a little bit on both sides, though. I'm not all for using them. I like the art. That's why I became an artist, to draw and paint. But to run a business and survive, these things are 100% worth it. So doing the can, spray painted it, and blending it in with a darker violet right there. It's like a wicked violet. And actually right now it's 12 a.m. It's midnight, and I was gonna go to sleep early and not finish the rest of this video, but you know, I have a lot of awesome people supporting me on Patreon, and I really want to get this done for you guys, so I can really help you out. And off camera, what I'm doing is using spray adhesive. I'm spraying it with spray adhesive on the back, and then I'm going over it with a like a deep violet. I think that's what it is, actually. It's a violet, wicked violet, to be precise. And then I kind of went over it, and it was too dark, and then went over it again, it was light. Playing with it, seeing how it works on different backgrounds. And yeah, I think anybody that tells you they know what they're doing all the time as an artist is either lying, or they never really experimented and pushed their art any further. You know, so I'm always experimenting, adding templates and stuff. I'm always doing crazy stuff. I mean, you watch my streams, painting all kinds of stuff I've never painted before, and I'm learning all the time. And yeah, so I encourage you guys to do that. It's always really good to do. So I'm always outlining with black. I like to use that first. It gives it a nice sharp edge, and you can always go over black with another opaque color, like a violet. I think violet's semi-opaque though. I think there's only very few true opaque colors, and which are red, usually blue, primary colors. Not yellow. I don't think that's opaque yellow. I think it's usually transparent. And I talk a lot about opaque and transparent because when you learn the system, whatever paint you use, I mean, I talk a lot about Createx because I use them. They're not sponsoring me or anything. Those are the ones I use because you can do a lot with them. But with that being said, whatever paints you use, that's fine. I mean, use them, but learn the system. Learn, and what I mean by system, I mean learn the colors, learn the names of the colors, and it just helps you all around. Talk about your work, describe your work. All of that helps make more money, and able to paint and talk to other artists and communicate. So right here I'm adding the Stencil Victory Royale. Same thing. I think this is the violet again. Yep. I really like that color. Beautiful, nice, deep violet. And then blending in, if I can see it right, white, and then fading it in, and then just dragging the airbrush down, dragging it down, just giving those like kind of like effects. And that's really cool about airbrush. You can do that and have these nice blends, like pretty like that. Right there's a lot of spray adhesive, so I kind of rubbed it off. If you let it dry, you can actually just rub it off. Blow on it, rub it off. It's kind of like an eraser. You can erase and kind of like, there's like that eraser kind of gummy head part. You can just kind of just brush off. That's a cool thing about that. You gotta let it dry for a minute though. That's a little trick too. So if you ever run into that, like, oh crap, I screwed it up. And I've been there. Like I put way too much adhesive on and I pulled it off. I'm like, oh crap. Like, what am I gonna do? And I let it dry for a minute. I'm like, you know, you never knew that until you try to rub it. The little llama guy, he's falling off somehow, somewhere. Same thing, just outlining him with black again. But you don't always have to outline in black. That's, I said, that's a personal preference, and I like doing that though because it gives it a nice sharp outline, and it really makes it stand out. Because you're mixing all these colors and top and back and forth, and that really keeps the stencil outline really prominent. So you can lay a lot of different colors on there. It's really hard to defeat that black unless you add like a white with a color and you mix it. And if you guys have been airbrushing for a while or just new to airbrushing, when you airbrush and then you made the main subject right there, right? So say the llama, right? And when you airbrush it, and then you lay all these colors on, I don't know if I'm going to use any fluorescent colors. I might on that thing. When you do that, the overspray mists over the black, so the sharp black, vibrant black really starts to fade and become like washed out. And if you have done shirts like this, you see it all the time, and you have to go over it again. So that's really why I make those colors really like deep and like dark into the shirts. With a high PSI that really pushes the paint to the shirts. I guess that's a better way to describe it. And I have this Fortnite kind of stencil sheet right here of the negatives. Kept it. I thought it was cool. Playing around with it, just added in some little characters here and there. It's like the little things I think the customer and people appreciate when they get a shirt or get something different, unique to you. And I always talk to a lot of artists about this, and I really think a lot of them are, I would like to say they're in agreement to that, but there is also that 50-50. There's other artists that want really clean, less, less is more. And I agree in a lot of circumstances, but I really come from an urban culture of flea markets. I started my first flea market in Gary, Indiana. So that's probably about as urban and hood as you can get, unless you're like in Oakland or something like that, or Queensboro. But it's pretty much on par with that. It is, really. So, and my style emerged, and I never really saw it as a style until I got older, and I can really appreciate it now. Really urban. So when you see my work, it's a ton of crazy shit everywhere. Like, I'm putting stuff everywhere, and that's really from working on angel wings with angels in the background and like 40-ounce liquor bottles and shit, like crazy stuff like that, dude. And they wanted everything on it, so I painted all this stuff everywhere, on the arms and the side and the back. And so now when I do my work, and I hated that, but honestly I hated doing all that stuff, everything everywhere. It was just, I used to thought it was gaudy and I didn't like it. But now it's integrated into my style, and it works in a weird way. So now I'm using, back to subject, is highlights. I think that's what I'm doing, highlights right here. I use the skull stencil too in the background. And that works really well when you have a wash already painted, like that blue. And I'm using it, probably doing purple. So that's a very conscious choice because of the colors I'm using. So the palette that I'm using, and I really talk in terms of art and aesthetics. There's a lot of people that think that airbrushing T-shirt isn't an art, and that's not true at all. It's very much an art, and you can elevate it even further and higher as much as you can. So you really have to think in terms of art and paint, just to be better. So here's another positive stencil right here. I really like using positive stencils. They're quick, you know, they're easy to move and manipulate and everything. They're just fun. This one's really... I think I didn't, honestly, for this shirt, I don't even know if I had spray adhesive. I think it had like a little bit left, so that's why it's really screwing me over. Totally. Yeah, that's what happens when you shoot a YouTube video and you're not prepared of like the 100 things you have to have ready. So we got about 10 more minutes in this video, and doing good. Here's another guy jump in. This is the drop it in boys. This one is, I think this sells the most. I don't know, the stencil's like super popular, and the main Fortnite one. So like I said, if you want any of these stencils, I'm gonna drop a link in the description below to all my Fortnite stuff. I mean, one, just, you know, selling like 2-3 shirts is gonna pay for everything. And it helps me support my channel. So all the stuff that I sell, people are like, oh, you're selling stuff, and blah, blah. I'm like, everything anybody buys from me helps me make these free tutorials. Like, I'm not charging. I don't have a DVD. None of that bullshit, man. Like, you're just having it all for free. And I'll tell you everything. So that's the way I feel, you know, helps out. Works together, man. You win, I win, everyone wins, man. It's good. Good stuff. And so back to, I always go on these tangents, right? But they're useful tangents. That's what I say. Like old man, even though I'm young. But so adding white here, you can reposition the stencil. So don't think that once it falls off, oh, it's done. I used to think that first. I don't know if anybody else thinks that, but I used to think that. So I just sprayed it a little bit, I think, again, or not even. It's already still tacky, and just put it back on. And bam, a nice white outline. And if you took your time even more, you can make it even brighter white. So but I mean, that Nevermore, the guy on the left in purple, super stands out, really makes the shirt pop. And you can have other characters too. And yeah, so it's cool. Have a cool display like this, man. And I go all out. I show this crazy stuff, and there's got, you know, I like to go all out. I like to put some of my best work out there, and you know, just really wow the customer. Just, you have to wow them to get them to come. And well, what, a lot of people are like, well, what if they want to buy that shirt? What if they want you to make it there? Then charge them a lot of money. You know, if it's a lot of work, to charge them a lot of money. Most of the time, they won't pay it. They're just like, you know, that's cool, but, you know, and then downsell them some stuff, but, you know, don't make it seem like it's downselling. It's like, oh, this one be like $75. Honestly, maybe $100, but 75 bucks if someone wanted it for me. I'd knock it out in like 30 minutes, maybe 45. From, you know, it depends on how fat, you know, hard I'm working. And that's good money. So I'll give you some business tips too, man. You know, white highlights always brings it out. And I know there's some other guys, some other companies selling stuff too or whatever. I like to help people, tell them everything, and design by artists and all that good stuff. So I add the white highlights here, and these are freehand. And you can place the template back on there and then use that. But sometimes most of the times actually, when you freehand it, I don't know, it just stands out and looks better, depending on what you're doing, you know. So whenever I do background elements like that, I always like freehand it. I always gotta throw that starburst, man. Where I'm from, people call it bling. I don't know what they call it where your guys are from, but they just call it bling, I guess. So super versatile. I mean, I think I did a time lapse, so you can see the whole thing time lapse too, real fast if you want to see it, just the progression of it faster, and a linked video. But here's the extended one, and Fortnite, everything was, the whole color palette was purple, blues, you know, that kind of dreamlike color, and then gold, man. I think gold would stand out. I think it works. Usually yellow. Well, I think it's yellow. It's not gold. Let's correct myself. It's transparent, bright yellow. And it may be fluorescent. I don't think it's fluorescent though. Well, actually, it might be. Yeah. And that stands out. It really breaks up the shirt and gives you like highlighted characters. And I was really conscious of making the background city, you know, that bright kind of neon greenish, neon yellow color. And the main character, I think it's the main character. I'm not sure his name though, but he's in that. So on the left side and the right side, and I balanced it out across the shirt too. So a lot of times people ask how do you decide where the colors go? Well, some basic art rules, kind of balance, things like that. And then threw some little white kind of sky highlights in there, coming through the clouds. So it's done, guys. Appreciate you guys watching my channel, checking it out. Subscribe. If you want some stencils, there's a pack and info down there and all that good stuff. And hope you guys learned something, and I'll be back with another video. I appreciate it a lot for watching and checking me out again. And let me know what you want to see, what other kind of videos you want to make. And thank you for the Patreon subscribers. This video is brought to you by Patreon and all the Patreon subscribers that have been helping out and support my channel. So thank you. And if you want to help out with Patreon, go to patreon.com/mindlesspaint. All right, guys. Later.